we didn't have that link.
Live stream is on.
Let me do the introduction, Tom, and everybody else. So,
Okay.
greetings, everyone. Welcome to Stunt Hangar Video Hangout. My name is Charles Carter, and I'll be your host this evening. And this is our take 2. So, if you saw the first one, sorry about that. I don't know what happened, but we're going to try it again. And here at Stunt Hangar Video Hangouts, we talk about building and flying model airplanes, sport flying, competition flying, what you've done lately in your shop or at the flying field. Now, to join this conversation, if you are already a member of Stunt Hangar Forum, you can find the link if you scroll down to the section called At the Bench. Now, if you're not a member, please register at stunthangar.com/SMF. Now, when you register, you must place a space between your real first and last name, and you must also use a valid email address, or Sparky, the proprietor of Stunt Hangar, will not approve you. Now, if you're inclined to not come in but just want to enjoy watching us on YouTube, please enjoy. But if you have any questions or comments, you can enter them into the chat box, and I'll do my best to make them part of the show. And just let you know, sometimes it's hard to get a word in myself, so just bear with me. I will post your question. And without any further ado, I want to encourage you to like, subscribe, and share. That helps build the program, the platform, I mean. And we also have YouTube memberships that are $4.99 a month. That's less than 17 cents a day. And you get great information, entertainment, and over 50 years of Sparky's building experience. I think he said on one video, he's built over 400 airplanes. So there's a lot of experience. And I think the link's already posted. So we'll just go ahead and I'll turn my attention to these guys and we can get going. Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
Really start off with a bang, I tell you.
Yeah, we might as well get right to what we did in the shop this week. Nothing. Anybody else?
I ain't built a plane yet.
Pretty
I hadn't finished anything, but
You know, I actually did a little bit of work on my this other plane I'm trying to get ready to fly. It's called an Impact. I'm creating a hatch that's right over where the flap horn is to get access to the push rods. And I think I told you that last week, but I did do a little bit more work on that. And then today I went out flying with the Chipmunk. I had Joe Mata, who I'm teaching how to fly, and another guy I'm helping as well, Carl Reed. And so there's 3 of us out there, and beautiful weather out here. It's probably in the high 60s, or maybe it's low 70s. I don't remember, but very nice.
that's what our winds were today.
You just bragging now.
Yeah, we were in the high 20s.
Hey, I was in the mid-30s.
We were in the 50s, but we had like 30-mile-an-hour winds.
Oh, it was 11 degrees though at night here. So.
Wow. Yeah, it's well, that's something. I actually was wearing shorts and t-shirt.
What?
And,
I remember
you can leave now.
sunglasses.
Yeah,
Guys-
you can leave now.
Guys get 65 degrees and they put their heavy jackets on.
That's why I'm waiting for everyone to leave California so there's space for me to move there.
Oh, yeah.
I'd rather go to
No, you're not
Florida.
that big, Steve.
You don't want to go to Florida. You don't want to go to California.
I'd rather go to Florida. They
I
got,
don't know
if
it's
it's
more
not,
humid in Florida than here, because the humidity is pretty nice. I mean, it's not that much humid here.
there are parts of California I would love to go to, San Diego, but it is so darn expensive to live. I mean, you got to be a millionaire to live there. Or
Yeah, they're all moving to Texas, so
yeah,
there's going to be a lot.
and Arizona.
You guys can really see me?
Hey, I can see the top of your head now. Oh, there we go.
Oh, there.
Hi there. How are you?
Tell them who you are.
It's good.
Say,
You're good. All right.
Eva, did you forget my name?
I'm so sorry. I have.
It's sweetheart, isn't it?
No,
Or
it's
is it
Eva.
Let
It's
me
just
see. Jessica,
Ava, speak up.
Ava.
Eva.
Oh,
I
Ava.
bet it's Ava.
Eva Rollins.
Whose lap are you sitting on?
I thought I might have been Ava Gabor.
Yvonne Rollins.
Ivana.
There you go.
Yvonne Rollins.
Say I'm with Grandpa.
Ivana. Okay.
All right. Whose
Yeah,
lap
I've
are
seen
you
in
sitting
your
on?
grandpa's videos.
Is that your grandpa?
Say yes.
Let me think here.
Boy, you might be in a heap of trouble. She don't
I
know.
didn't know who you were talking about.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
That man you're sitting on his knee. Who is that?
Say Grandpa.
It's Grandpa.
Oh, okay.
Can you tell him Happy New Year?
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Thank
Ava,
you.
do me a favor, Ava. Can you say Happy New Year to Montana Farmer?
What?
Say
His
Happy
name is Montana Farmer.
Montana Farm. Say Happy New
I've never heard of that.
So you just say it. You just say it. Say Happy New Year, Montana Farmer. Can you say that?
Happy New Year, Montana Farmer.
Good.
All right,
There you
thank you, Ava. So we're back, Montana
You got a
Farmer.
little-
We're back.
You got a little dog.
I
there.
can
So-
tell you what I did when it's Happy New Year.
Oh, please do.
I helped Mom bake vanilla brownies.
All
And you
right.
didn't-
Vanilla brownies?
Do you like eating vanilla brownies?
I don't think I've ever had a vanilla
I have
brownie.
never had a
I don't-
vanilla brownie.
I've never had a, yeah.
I've had a vanilla brownie. It's so cold.
Well, get your papa to send us one. I'll try it.
It's cold.
Yeah,
what?
you can have your grandpa send us all some. We can try it.
Put them in a Ziploc
It has
bag
white
in a box.
chocolate in it. It has
I
white
gotta wait
chocolate.
till Christmas.
I think I
So
started
for,
something.
for New Year's, did you fill out a list of everything you want for the new year and give it to your grandpa? That worked really
Oh,
good.
Lord.
You should fill out a list and tell your grandpa everything you want for the year.
home.
Oh, you have to wait till you get home to do that?
Oh, Lord.
Well, no, I didn't. I didn't bring any for the.
Because your
him.
grandpa told us how much he likes buying you things.
What? Can you tell me what new thing you did for New Year?
Pardon me?
Yeah.
You want
yeah, you're pardoned, Steve.
Hey, Ava. Ava, guess what? Montana Farmer said thank you very much.
That's really hard to ask what they say.
I know. It's like, do you want to say goodnight and go upstairs? And say goodnight to them?
Wait, I
Say-
forgot to say hi.
Okay. Well, you better say it then.
Hi.
Bye.
Hi.
Hi, sweetheart.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Good
Remember,
night.
See you later.
See you later.
Okay.
All right.
After a while, crocodile.
Yeah.
When I come back.
remember to fill that.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'll see you later.
Grandpa, you're in trouble because that one's going to get the last word.
Hey, I had
A
a
little,
I had an
Wait till that
interesting
gets a little
experience today, guys. I
Right?
got a call a couple days ago from Gordon Delaney. He wanted me to send him PDFs of the Pathfinder Pathfinder profile so he's got a friend up there who wants to scratch build one. So I was looking through there to find I found the ones that I sent over to Brodak to print a kit with, and while I was looking in there, I ran across one that I'd taken on myself to make a few changes. The changes being that I had a Warren Truss wing developed for it, and I also used kind of a sort of a built-up fuselage, not built up in like a built-up fuselage, but it had a foam core with half by half balsa top and bottom, and then the foam in the middle, and then sheeted with actually I showed it sheeted with 64th ply, just glued on there with the epoxy. The idea being that to stop it from twisting, that profile twist. And so I sent him that too, but I haven't heard anything back from him whether he's going to throw them at me or for making changes without talking to him. Or what?
Well, you just made the changes a lot of us were already making.
Yeah.
When the what's the name of that profile that? Oh God, now I can't even think of his name. When that profile came out a few years ago, that was done like that with the balsa going both ways. The natural progression was to try it with plywood. Mo Best. When that thing came out, and we started modifying and playing with fuselages, profile fuselages. That opened a whole new door. I mean, now we just use a little bit of wood at the top, a little bit of wood at the bottom, and either styrofoam or wood, something everywhere but around the wing and around the motor. It's just there's not much there but foam in the back, and then cover it with plywood on both sides. Put as little epoxy as you can get away with on it, and put it between two pieces of glass, and put some heavy stuff on it, and go to bed that night. I mean, you get up the next morning, you got a rock solid fuselage. I mean, I built them with balsa wood going both ways, and a piece of spruce down the middle of them. It was 1/2 by 1/8. Built one piece top, one piece to bottom. I did that on a couple planes, and then I found out about the plywood, and that's light, but I'd love to have the Warren Truss. Now that's nice. Oh, that looks good.
Well, Tom Morris, years and years and years ago, I talked to VSC. This had to be probably 10 or 15 years ago, and we're talking. He was concerned about the profile twist and that, and we had talked about it. And I told him, I said, well, why don't you do or try like the RC foam core wings? I told him I've got a sport flying RC plane, foam 64 ply on it, and I said that thing's hard enough you can hit a home run with it, and it don't weigh nothing, Yeah. And so he actually let me know he tried it and he liked it, and I think he based some of the stuff. I don't know whether he kept it going or not, but
no, he does profile Cavaliers like that.
Does he?
Yeah, they're built up.
Yeah, they're tough that way. As far as the send me an email. I'll send you the file there if you want.
I sure will. I'd love to. That's a neat wing, and I'm getting ready to build a new wing for my Pathfinder Profile Twin because a neighbor's cat decided to climb mine.
Wow.
Is that the one that was pictured in the what did you do in your shop today?
No, I didn't post it. I'm being too loud. I didn't post it. I didn't post it, but he got almost to the top before he just all the way to the bottom. Just took everything out in between. Yeah.
Do cats make good stir fry?
10 billion Chinese can't be wrong.
Yeah. Got it.
I have a question, you guys.
Go ahead.
Have you guys? You've probably heard about people putting the push rods down the fuselage, the profiles, to stiffen them up
inside. Yes.
Yeah, I'm just not sure how do they do that. I know it's probably
just put a tunnel in it, Charles. It's simple. Put the profile dead on. Put your controls dead on center. Put one side on. Put the other side on. The controls are already in there. Leave you a tunnel down through the center of it. That's I think I left mine 5/8, top and bottom, that the push rod can go through, and then you put the plywood side on it. It makes it harder to close it up because you've got to do something with the wing when you put the weight on the fuselage, to put it together, and then the push rod's just coming out the back of the plane. Well, then you put your tail on it and build the tail around it. I mean, you have to do it in steps, but it's not that hard.
It also helps to make the fuselage
Mustang that way, and that thing looks good.
It also helps to make the fuselage more than a 1/2 inch, though.
No, it's 1/2 inch. It's half
It's
inch.
half inch overall?
Plywood's only 1/32. I'm getting too loud. They're having a hard time talking to the other. Use 1/32 plywood. You don't need the heavy plywood. And
Is that what
it
you
works
skin it
great.
with?
Yeah, that's what you skin it with. And then just
Okay.
tissue over outside of that, and it works great. It's light, it's strong, it doesn't warp. But that's all you got to do, Charles. It's you're doing what I always do. You're trying to make something difficult out of something that just isn't. You're overthinking it, and I do that all the time. I am the world's worst at that.
You know, there's a better mousetrap right around the corner, right?
I just haven't found it yet.
No, there's always a better mousetrap. All you got to do is figure out how to find it.
Yeah.
Well, that's that cat we're talking about.
Oh, that cat. That cat's lucky to be alive. I picked up my pistol and it's got rat shot in it. And he was on that side of the garage and the door's that way. He's lucky cat to be alive. I like that cat normally because he kills a lot of field mice. But dadgummit, he was trying to get something. There was a thing laying on top of my bench that I was trying to put a tag back on, trying to put an eye back in for my grandson. And I guess he thought it was real, and he tried to go after it. That bench is only 46 inches high. I don't know why in the world he couldn't jump it in one jump. But he tried to climb that wing like a ladder, and it just,
Oh, my goodness.
I was so brokenhearted because I just had put it up there.
Wow. Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah, it was one of the few days when we had a beautiful day and I could leave the garage door open and get some of the stink out of there. Because I was trying to paint. Go ahead.
You know, Phil, that Pathfinder wing will go just fine in the Pathfinder twin.
Oh yeah, that's what I was going. That's what I was doing. I just it being a constant chord, all you need is 2 ribs really, and figure out where to put the center, how to do the center. But I wanted to sheet it. I sheeted the center out an extra bay, and it seems like I skipped 2 bays or something, and then I went 3 bays on the cell from 3 to across 3 ribs. But if I did it again, I think I'd just sheet the whole center of that wing to tie it all together a little better.
Yeah.
That guy right there is causing me a bunch of trouble. That plane he's building there is so darn pretty. I'm having to redo some things I'm doing. And
yeah, it really is beautiful.
Sparky, I'm going to tell you a little secret, brother. Not all of us can do what you can do. We might can, but boy, I'm having to do a lot of rethinking to do it. He does some pretty work.
Yeah.
He's a dirty old man, but he does some really pretty work.
Let me do some housekeeping, you guys. I have a couple more guests. Charlie Williams says, good evening, everyone, and Happy New Year. And Top Brent says, howdy, guys. Checking in from the cold outpost of northern Utah.
Ooh.
Hi, Brent.
Howdy. How are you, both of you guys?
Yeah.
Lord,
yes, we have 3 out there, and we have 1 like. And I understand the introduction, the start of the program wasn't likable, but please like and share and subscribe. At least subscribe and like the YouTube. And don't forget our memberships. The YouTube memberships are only $4.99 a month. That's less than 17 cents a day. And so we really would appreciate that. And we have right now 17 concurrent viewers and only 1 like. Please show us some love and give us some likes. I really would appreciate that, and share and subscribe.
You might get more if you smile there, Charles.
If I smile.
Lord have mercy.
Well, okay. Thank you. I'll take that. I will smile more.
All right, I know that you got at least 1 because by golly, I got it on there.
I got 2. All right, we're up to 2. We've actually doubled in size. 3, fantastic. Keep it going. I really appreciate it.
Hey, Charles.
That puts a smile on me. Who said hi?
Me.
Hey, Ed.
Hey, where'd you say your flying videos were posted was it on Stunt Hangar?
Well, no, there's a featured. I'm a featured channel on Stunt Hangar, but my platform is called Flying Control Line Stunt. All one word, Flying Control Line Stunt. So if you go to YouTube,
Okay, it's on YouTube. Okay,
it's on YouTube. Yeah, it's actually youtube.com/C/Flying Control Line Stunt.
okay.
Thank you.
Well, guys, I just thought I'd make an appearance. I don't have internet here today. I'm running on my hotspot, so I'm burning up bandwidth.
Good to see you, Sparky. Your plane's looking good.
Thank you.
Yeah, great.
I've been watching the progress, Sparky, and that thing is gorgeous. I hope it flies like the other one did. Does.
Yeah.
Did the last time I saw it. How about that?
What?
I have a question, Sparky.
Yeah.
I saw when you panned over the plane today, and while you're panning over it, I saw where the flap horning goes into the fuselage side, like an eyelet or something. Is that right? Or how'd you get the eyelet on the flap horn or joiner? How'd you do that?
You got to put the eyelet on before you bend the horn.
Oh, okay.
See, my hinges stick back 3/16 of an inch. So if I didn't have that eyelet there, there'd be a slot in the fuselage. I don't have any fillets between the flaps and the fuselage. I got to do something to finish that off in there.
Yeah, but it looks nice. I mean, it looks like a quality job with that eyelet. It's a real nice finished appearance.
Well, I would have rather had it sand a little bit better down there, but it's so hard to get in there. You know, I might monkey with it as we progress into the season.
Hey, Sparky, if it flies as good as it looks, it's going to be a big-time winner.
I just hope it flies as good as the XL.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think of, XL.
It's
See,
2 ounces heavier.
See, what made me sick about the XL is I had just held that thing for him 30 minutes before it got the hole busted in the wing. I held it for him to burp it 3 times, and I'm telling you what, that plane is light. I was so darned, I said, my goodness, I built 2 of these, and neither one of them are close to this. That is nice.
This one's 2 ounces heavier, but I'm thinking it's going to lose a little weight.
Oh, it'll gas off some. That thing's
And
fresh.
once you
all right.
get that fuel tank and maybe that other spinner, you'll lose, another ounce between those 2 items?
I'm going to fly it as is to see where it balances, and if it needs more turn, I'll put the spinner on it, see what it, if that works, and get away with that, put a tongue muffler on it, take an ounce off of it. So I could foreseeably get it down to 57 if I put all these other, it's got to balance. That's the most important thing.
Yeah. If it flies like the other one did.
It balances approximately the same spot as the other one does. Right about there. Can you see that? No, not right there.
Wow.
Sparky, is that just a Junar, or when it did the XL, did it change something other than the wing?
What, my Junar XL?
Yeah.
That's a Billy wing with my numbers. Just like this one is a Billy wing with my numbers.
How much difference are the numbers?
Big difference. Inch in the, huh?
Shucks. What are the? Can you tell the numbers, or that's something you're keeping to yourself?
No, it don't matter. My tail moment is 16 inches, and my nose moment is 10 1/4. And I'm 1.5 inches off thrust for the center line of the wing, and I'm on the datum line on the stabilizer. And that's different than that Billy does.
That datum line is the line from the engine mounts, engine bearers all the way back?
Yes, it's right at the top of the fuselage.
All right.
Wow.
So it's,
So the wing is a half-inch below the datum line. Center of the wing. Wow.
let me see here.
So that thing is all but an inline. That's nice.
I can give you an approximate center line.
I kept looking at the XL at the contest in Huntersville, and I kept saying it just doesn't look like mine. Something is out of line.
Yeah.
I can see it just didn't look quite right. I couldn't figure out what was different. But I said it don't look like mine, and it don't fly like mine. Of course, mine was a 40 pipe, and that was a 61, or 60.
Inch and a half off the datum line is the center line of the wing. The datum line on the stabilizer, and then the thrust is 3/8 off the datum line. Oh no, wait a minute. 3/8 and 3/16 is 9/16 off the datum line.
So you're considering the datum line at the top of the fuselage itself.
Right. When you cut your fuselage sides, the very top line is the datum line. That's where all the measurements are taken from.
So I always take all of mine off the thrust line. So
when you turn them out upside down on the table, we use a standoff to make those lines, make those marks. So the top of the fuselage is on the table, so you measure up from that, and that gives you the center line.
Yep.
But I think it turned out real nice. I mean, I got a little more rubbing to do. When I get it back, I'll machine it. And it should be a 18 or 19 pointer.
Some reason it reminds me of a Tucker.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
You gonna take it out and fly it this week, Sparky?
No, it's too cold.
I'm just glad you decided not to call it, or at least print on it, what everybody's been calling that thing.
I just
know it's
and went,
a Tucker.
Right.
Oh, the mother. Everybody's been calling it the mother.
Mother Tucker.
Yeah.
I said, oh no, don't put that on the wing. That's just too many people will find that offensive and say something, and you don't need that.
When you headed back to Ohio?
That is a gorgeous airplane.
Tomorrow morning.
Oh Lord.
Wow.
How long does it take to drive back?
5 hours.
Ooh.
Well, you might get some good flying weather there next week. It's supposed to be 40 something here, close to 50 by like Wednesday or Thursday.
If it ain't hitting 70, it ain't good enough for me.
Man after my own heart.
Yes. You guys, let me go do some more house cleaning, you guys. Charlie Williams says, I'm getting ready to build a Brodak Aries, my first large control line.
Oh,
Get
brother.
a flat table.
Yeah, really.
Hell of a thing to pick for your first airplane.
That's a tough first airplane.
Yeah.
That's a tough first airplane.
And how?
It's buildable, though. You can do it.
You can do it. But just have lots of patience. Just have lots of patience and be ready to walk away a bunch of times. Don't get upset with it. Just walk away and come back later and figure out what you did wrong.
Is the Brodak Aries still an I-beam?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Very definitely.
I-beams are simple once you built one or two, but
Once you built one or two, but that first one,
That's what I was going to say. The first I-beam you ever build is the tough one, because it's not like you ever built anything like it before.
It's not impossible to do, though. If you've built anything in your life before, you follow directions. Tab A goes into slot B.
I can't direct you to the thread on Stuka because it's gone, but I expect that airplane to be ready, buffed, painted, and ready to fly in 11 days, because that's what I did.
Sparky, nobody's
Sparky,
that good.
nobody
Come
but
on.
you.
I've never built
can do
an
that.
I've never built an I-beam, but from what I've heard from you guys is it's a no stop process. Once you start, you got to finish it, right?
Yeah, you got to go.
Here's a beam right here for a big airplane.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I got one of them.
I got some more house cleaning, you guys. Charlie Williams says he's built 250 plus RC planes.
Yeah.
Looking forward to this build.
Yeah.
Oh, he'll have no
Oh, he'll
problem
be in
with an
good shape
I-beam.
then.
Yeah.
He'll be in good shape.
He'll be all right then.
Here's a beam for another one. So they're both well, no, this one is a 60-inch wingspan I-beam, and this one's a 55-inch wingspan I-beam.
Hey,
Yeah, but
Sparky,
see-
question for you. When you build an I-beam, do you build a solid center core or do you do a space frame solid core or center core?
You have
Solid
4 half-inch ribs next to the fuselage.
No. I'm talking about the I-beam itself, the spar.
Oh no, it's this spar here is a composite spar. It's 1/2 on this side, 1/2 on this side, so it's broke here. But if you look at the top, it's plywood on the top, plywood on the side, top, so it's a plywood box holding that all together. Plus there's carbon fiber behind this. No, not on this one. On this one there is. Anyway, but the best I-beam is made out of a yardstick.
Well, I'm building one for my chipmunk, and what I did was I built an 1/8-inch frame basically, and then I sandwiched it with 16th inch, so it's basically a 1/4-inch piece that's kind of hollow in the middle, and then I'm gonna cap it with the 1/8 inch for the I-beam to create the I-beam, so I have kind of a space frame I-beam.
Go on my channel and look at Billy Warridge's building an I-beam. He builds an air, and he shows you exactly how to lay out an I-beam wing.
That's the 1.5-hour video. I watched that. I love it. But I think that for building it for a 15 size, I think I need to lighten up the I-beam a little bit.
Use a yardstick.
You think so?
I used to use I used to use 1/4-inch white pine, but you can't find it anymore. They sell poplar. But I used to go to a lumber yard down on Virginia and climb up in the rafters and get out the 2-inch by 5-foot long piece of 1/4-inch white pine. And you just make sure you have straight grain. And you lay a straight line on it, and you draw from that straight line your beam. Don't cut it with a razor blade or else it'll bow. You sand it to shape. So you sand it to shape, then you hollow it out so it's only 3/16 of an inch. It's got holes in it like that. It weighs 1 ounce. You can't beat that.
Okay, well,
Sparky,
I have a planer, so if I get a piece of white pine, I'll just run it through till it's a 1/4 inch.
Yeah, you can do that. As long as it's straight, clear.
The only thing I can tell you for sure is when you go cutting it to, how it's big in the center and smaller on the side. When you go cutting it a little bit, you cut that, you sand a little bit on one side and you sand a little bit on the other. Because if you just sand this side, that sucker's gonna warp. And just like Sparky said, if you do it with a knife, if you do it with a knife or blade or anything, you're gonna have a banana.
Yep.
You want to be equal on both sides, and you want to take your time with it.
You gotta sand it.
You sand 2 swipes on this side, you sand 2 swipes on that side. Make it
I use a
even.
belt sander. I go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if you take a big cut
I do it with a block.
out of it, next thing you know, you got a banana.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Yeah.
Steve, what are you playing See No Evil for?
What's
Well,
that?
guys, like I said, I gotta go. I gotta run around my hotspot. I got poor bandwidth.
All right. Well, thanks for coming in, Sparky.
See you,
right.
Sparky.
Yeah, thanks,
Happy New
Sparky.
Year, Sparky, and drive careful.
Take it easy, Sparky.
Happy New Year, Sparky.
Yeah.
In Dayton, Ohio.
Good
Happy
work
New
on the airplane.
Yeah.
Beautiful work on the airplane as usual.
Oh, I was going to tell you guys with these DNA
Oh, yeah.
test
Looks
things,
awesome.
you know, you can go back and find out everything about your family and stuff like that.
Sure.
There's good and bad. I found out that I come from a long line of control line flyers. But the bad part, none of them were any good.
You clown.
Lord have mercy.
Well, you fit right in.
Yeah.
You crazy
How do you
bugger.
explain Samantha then?
Oh, Steve.
It skips a generation.
Yeah, what happened to that?
That's it.
It skipped a lot of generations.
Hey,
I've
Phil,
seen Samantha flying. She is good. Yeah.
I got my handles
Look at
in.
this.
Oh,
All right.
Hang on, let me click on you, Eddie.
oh man.
All right, show it again, Eddie.
Show it again.
You got
That's
a serious handle there, Eddie.
That's the Hangar 9.
Oh, nice.
And then this one is, looks, I don't know if this one's homemade or what, but I got it for a pattern, basically.
Nice.
It doesn't have the, it doesn't have the
That's a
slots in it.
Brodak handle.
I
I'm
always,
gonna
Oh, no,
I
it's
always
not.
wanted to try
Oh,
one
maybe.
of them Hangar 9s
That's Brodak
that
handle.
are adjustable like that. They look pretty cool, but
it's comfortable, I know that. I
they
mean,
didn't make them very long.
Yeah, it's
The
thin.
only thing I
It's
tell you
lightweight,
about
too.
that Brodak handle is shorten that overhang.
Oh, I'm gonna take all this off and
Yeah.
change this. It's like 3/16. I'm gonna make it 1/8 inch, and I'm gonna slot it
Yeah.
because the ones I was gonna get has, let me get up here on the back, has a piece of nylon with
yeah, it's
a
like mine.
has a piece of nylon with a blind nut on it with a screw coming in where you can move it
Yeah,
and
that's where
everything.
mine is.
And then it has the bolt to lock it down. And I'm gonna get rid of the cable and put the Kevlar on it.
Rope.
But like I say, I just got this because I wanted to see how that actually felt because I've never had one with the finger
Yeah, that's where I
holes
do
or
most of mine.
yeah, and it's really comfortable. I like it. So I'm gonna. My dad's got some about, let's see, probably 35. I'm gonna say roughly 35-year-old walnut planks in his basement. So I'm gonna make some walnut handles.
Now you're just making me jealous.
Yeah, nice.
I'll show them when I get them made, but
I love walnut. That's my
I'm
favorite
gonna
woodwork.
I'm gonna experiment with some pine just to see what it comes up with. But yeah, I can get the 1 inch or the 1/8 inch by 1/2 inch plate here, where this is kind of thick. I'm gonna thin it up a little bit.
How much 1/8 inch do you want, Eddie?
I don't know that's what.
That just makes me cringe when I see all that loose cable hanging in
Oh,
there.
I know. That's what. Yeah.
It just makes me cringe.
Yeah. It's like
I would be slotting that handle and putting eye bolts through it and use it as a hard point.
Yeah. That's like I said.
Get
It's just.
rid of the cable.
I mean, I think I paid what, $28 for both of them.
I'll tell you what,
So-
that idea of
Well, there's
praying
nothing wrong with
that 16th inch rope that's 500 pounds is like $16 for a roll of it on eBay.
Well, let's see what I found.
If you put that on your plane, on your handle and go fly it, you'll be amazed how much more you feel like you're flying the plane instead of fighting it because the wires aren't bouncing around and causing you trouble. It stunned me. I thought I'll
Exactly.
It's
Hey,
a lot
Tom,
of
I want to see that list that your
Me,
granddaughter fills
I
out
couldn't believe it.
for all the stuff that she wants you to buy her.
Yeah, thanks, dude.
Because I know you can't say no. You can't say no to her.
No.
Phil, here's what I found. I found it's a 25-foot mil spec type 500-pound Kevlar. So it's 25 feet, 500 pounds for $7.99.
Where'd you find that?
eBay. I don't know if you can see it or not on my phone.
$7.99.
$7.99. I just typed.
16.
I just paid. I just typed in
That's pretty good.
Kevlar cord, and that's what come up. It's
Yeah,
2 mil.
I said rope.
It's this is 2 mil. It's approximate approximate thickness is 0.078 or 2 millimeter. Awesome. 2 millimeter. It's 500-pound breaking strength.
That'll be fine. That'll be great.
Length per pound is 720 feet to make a pound, so it's pretty light stuff.
Yeah, that ought to work great. You're gonna like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna get some of that, and like I say, I'm just gonna experiment with some handles and see what get rid of those easy adjusts I got, because those things shock the shit out of me all the time. Every time I go out.
Yeah.
Oh, I can remember when I was learning to fly. I had a ringmaster that.
They're very old technology.
Yeah.
I mean, they work, but
yeah, I had a
better out
ringmaster
there
with an OS-35 on it, and we were out flying, and I didn't know Tommy yet, and Tommy and Bob Galley were down flying on the lower circle, and I was up on the upper circle flying with my ringmaster. A storm came up, and I didn't see the storm come up, but they quit flying, and I didn't realize why. I thought, well, I'm going to get one more in because they got to come right by me to go to the parking lot. I took off.
Yeah, I know. And you can't stop it. You gotta fly it out.
You gotta fly the sucker out. Boy, I'll tell you what.
You guys, if I can interrupt, I got some more housekeeping. Anyways, let me see here. Montana Farmer, he says that, what do you guys think about an SV-11 for the first plane? Sparky talked me out of the Strega.
For a first plane?
Yeah.
Do the Vector.
I have 2 of them in the basement. I'd go with the Vector. The SV-11's a lot of airplane. It pulls hard. If power it right, it pulls hard. It flies great. But that's an awful lot of airplane for a first airplane.
Too much airplane.
Yeah.
Well, it depends upon how big the guy is. I mean,
the Vector.
The SV-11 is a really nice flying plane. I never owned one. I've flown a Vector before.
I'd go with a 40. I would go with the 40 size plane.
How about a Twister? How about a Twister?
I don't believe you can beat, honestly, and I'm not. I've built a lot of airplanes, but I don't believe you can beat a Twister for a first full up stunner. I just don't.
Yeah,
I don't care whether you put a Fox 35, an OS 35.
It's easy to build. It's spring, and if you do break it, you don't break your heart.
Yeah, I think he wants the ARF or
even use a 46 if that's what you can get a hold of.
If you want an ARF, I'd still go with a Vector.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can get an ARF.
Yeah,
Where can you get one?
I just got one. I just finished it a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, really? Because I looked on there the other day and there was no ARFs and no ARCs. You must have got the last one.
Now you got to call.
Let me ask a question.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Montana Farmer, I want to make sure, is this your first plane you're going to build, or is this your first plane you're going to fly? I hope you'll clarify that for me.
God, if it's the first plane he's
Good
going to fly, he
question.
definitely doesn't want an SV-11. Much too quick.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and you get with a big plane
That's
like
for
that,
sure.
you get weight turbulence and stuff. And if you're not,
Hey, Dennis,
Just
Happy New
touch
Year.
airplane.
And getting back to the chat, Top Brent had said earlier, a Fancher handle sure is easier. Go hard point.
Yeah. Fancer handle's a good handle. I've got 2 of them, and they're great. I don't have any one of them built, but I've flown with them.
I agree, 100%.
They're great handles.
hey Peter, did you get that wing done?
Huh?
Huh?
I meant eventually to hard point, especially for competition.
I got a response, you guys, from Montana Farmer.
Uh-huh.
He says both build and fly. Sorry, I didn't mention
Oh
that.
gosh. Get a sig twister. Don't
Montana
try to
Farmer,
start an
I
SV11.
love the SV11
For Steve.
one, but for the first plane to fly, I definitely recommend a twister. The guy that I'm teaching how to fly, he's building a twister right now. We did build together a Brodak Arc Ringmaster, and that Ringmaster is pretty durable as well. Hopefully you have someone that's going to be helping you to fly Montana. Hopefully not out by your, like Bill Cole, who's out there flying by himself.
In 20-degree weather.
Yeah. So hopefully you have someone helping you, because it makes it a lot better to have a pilot who knows how to fly and can fly the plane and get it trimmed out so that when you fly it, there's no bad behavior and no surprises. So, yeah, the SV11 I would not recommend. That would be a tragedy to have something happen to that SV11. Plus, you're going to be so careful, obviously, with that airplane, but it can't handle crashes like a twister can or a Ringmaster.
You can always move up.
Yeah.
So, Peter, is the wing done? Just need tips?
It needs more than it needs more than tips. But I've got the two halves joined up. I've got the two halves joined up on the table, as you can see.
Yeah.
I got to now put in for the. I got to mount the belt crank, do all that, create the lead outs, and then put the sheeting on the. Obviously, the leading edge sheeting on there, and then it's tips, but it's coming along at this point. So what I did was get ready to install the belt
together.
The controls. I'm making a little belt crank mod. That's the standard SIG belt crank that comes with the kit.
Yeah.
And I don't like. I like the lead out situation where you put the lead outs on a basically on a little thimble, and you put them in, and you mount them in that way. So what I did is I took some printed circuit board material. It's about an 1/8 of an inch thick phenolic, and I basically cut a piece that's the same shape as the top half of the belt crank.
Oh.
And since the belt crank has got all this extra material in here, a little bit of epoxy on the bottom of that, and then I took 2 screws and I just set them in to hold it in place while the epoxy dried. And then and when I'm finished, I'll have a screw here with a post as opposed to screw here as a post.
Yeah.
And then with some copper or brass bushings. See right there.
I see that.
Well, each one of these will be here and the one on the other side. Yeah. And I'll attach the lead outs in that fashion. And it's a very simple mod to make, because this you can use anything you can have around, as long as it's a fairly strong piece of material. You can use a little bit of an 1/8 inch aluminum. I've used aluminum in the past. I've used a piece of carbon fiber that I've had to make this extension, and it really is. It's an easy mod, and it allows you to use who is that? Is that a buck belt crank, or I forget now whose idea it was, but to allow you to use the thimble on the lead outs versus having to put a loop and then a brass tube and then go through the center of the arm.
Yeah, Brett Buck was the one I heard credited with coming up with that.
Yeah, that's a really good idea, Peter.
He's pretty sharp guy.
It's a really easy mod. Like I said, still using the 3-inch or the 4-inch nylon belt crank that comes with the kit, and just add a little extra piece or do a little modification to just swap it around to the other way of connecting the lead outs.
Hey, just remember to take out your aluminum rods out of that wing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Make one mistake and they never let you forget it.
It's kind of it works when you want to join the wing halves together. But the thing is, yeah, you have to. But unfortunately, they don't go out to the tips, so it's kind of like trying to make sure your wings are level. Although it does keep them fairly aligned. I noticed I didn't have any problems aligning the left and the right halves together when I had to join them with the rods, but it'd be I would have been a little more comfortable if I could have had it out on a jig, all the way wingtip to wingtip.
Yeah.
So,
What I did, I bought 2 of them wing jig kits, and then my buddy Dick there, he turned me a piece of aluminum so I can put them together.
Oh, nice.
So they run all the way through. And then when I just, take the one piece off, the one's locked in, and then I put my drill on the end of it and then turn it and just pull it out. Otherwise, the thing is so hard to get out of there that I spin it.
yeah, that's why I have that blue tape on all the pieces that pop out in the middle because I tried to put it on the jig and I just kept popping the rib centers out.
Yeah. You guys, I have some more house cleaning in just a second.
We clean the house a lot around here.
So let me see here. Montana Farmer says, he says, thanks, guys. So, yeah, thank you. And then Top Brent says, Montana Farmer, build a Skyray with an LA-25. Actually build 3 SIG Skyrays so you're always ready to fly. No flaps to start. The Skyray is the way to go, or a foam wing flapless plane from Corehouse. And Montana Farmer says he will check that out. Thanks, Top Brent. And that's a very good suggestion, Top Brent, because I have a Skyray 25. I mean, a Skyray, and I let my son at 11, 12 years old try to fly it. He crashed it a number of times, hard landings, I mean, and it's a tough bird. So that's a good alternative to the other recommendations because some of the ribs in this Skyray are actually plywood, right? I never
You want to get rid of the plywood ribs on a balsa because the plywood ribs will shatter easily in a crash where the balsa won't.
I mean, so they are plywood. I've never built one. I have a Skyray. I bought it.
Yeah, they're plywood.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, a good 25 size airplane is from Brodak, and it's that Sharp 402 or something like that.
Yeah, I'd say that's about the best of that class.
Depends on what kind of
modern moments. Yeah.
Yeah, that thing it flies really well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all balsa. There's no plywood in it and stuff. But yeah, the Sharp 402 is a real good flying 25 size airplane.
Airplane.
What's y'all's opinion on a
Flies amazing.
On a Brodak
Oh, yeah.
38 special?
Love them.
They actually fly pretty good. It's
They just finished one, and
I mean, one of the guys had one me and Mike flew with, but he crashed it, so I didn't get to see a lot of flights with it. I think I only saw 1 or 2, but I can't remember how it, performed. So I've seen videos on them on YouTube, but on YouTube you can't really, see the performance.
It's Tom Dixon's version of a fellow by the name of Miller from England, his Dancing Girl bike.
Yeah.
And
I love biplanes. That's why. I mean, I just.
When I was in intermediate, I got my clock cleaned a couple times by a guy flying a 38 special.
Tom Dixon.
But I got a CD over there, 38 special. I love it.
I'd find an LP and make a 38 special LP.
There you go. Yeah, make a platter plane out of a 38 special.
Yeah.
Tom Dixon had that thing, and he had the first when LA 40s first came out, first LA 40 I'd ever seen. had an LA 40 on that thing, and he had an FSR 40 on it, and it flew like a pattern ship. It was just amazing. Of course, Tom Dixon can fly a brick, but anyway, he flew this thing and just dusted all of us with it with a 40 FP on it. And
So it wouldn't be a bad
LA
investment.
Put the 40 LA on it. I didn't think it'd have enough power to fly it because everything I'd heard about the LA it's junk. Well, Tom proved to us it's not junk. He dusted us with the LA as well. That little plane would fly. It was orange.
May have to get one.
They're great little airplanes. I've got the kit downstairs, and I've got one hanging up. And I've been debating on whether to build the other one as an electric or put a 46 LA on it. I don't know which one to do yet.
No, they're not.
Do it like an electric painted green.
No, I tell you what, everybody gives me a hard time about why don't you paint one green? I don't know why everybody tells me to paint one green. It was my mother's favorite color. She always wanted me to paint one. So I did. I painted a plain green, and I took it out to the park. Could not see that thing at all. It just absolutely disappeared. But as I've gotten older, now gray. I've got an SV11 that's all gray. It's all silver, actually. But that darn thing disappears when it goes up into the sky. It disappears. When it comes down into the shadows, it disappears. Oh, I'm going to refinish the darn thing because it's one of the best flying airplanes I've ever had. But I can't see the darn thing.
Yeah, that's not good.
Just put racing stripes on it.
Dennis went to get his green airplane.
I have another comment, you guys, from the chat box. And Top Brent, he says the Shark 402 is excellent. Make a template of all the ribs and build 3 of them. And I think, Top Brent, you have a great suggestion. Having 3 airplanes so you can continually fly is a great idea. And I can see building 2 side by side. And why not build 3? It shouldn't take too much longer. I think that's a good idea because the guy that I'm teaching, when he crashed his plane, he had to wait, 3 or 4 weeks to fly again. And so that's a good idea.
When I learned how to fly, I had 2 ringmasters in, shall we say, alternating states. All right.
One's flyable, one's crashed.
Yeah, that's it. And then at the end of the year, they both got stripped down to nothing and zeroed out. And we'd start the season fresh and go through it all again.
Yeah.
Just
38 special
with
electric.
Wow,
cool deal.
Yeah, that's cool.
Cool deal. What motor
The
you gonna
dark
put on
side.
So
What motor
it
you
just
gonna put on
seemed pertinent to the discussion.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah, it is.
Phil was making some noise there. I just thought it kind of fit. So
Well, I like 38 specials. I've always liked
yeah, I'd like to build one because I've always wanted to have I've always wanted to fly a biplane, and 38 specials. Like, I mean, there's just not a lot of choices or anything like that out there, or anything like that. And I've seen 38s fly, and they seem to fly pretty well. So
Yeah.
I'd like to have one, and see where it takes me. So
yeah,
awesome.
So Dennis, is that a new microphone?
New what? Oh yeah, well, the same old handheld thing. I use my hands free for my cell phone, and it works. Got a better microphone than the others.
Yeah, works good. I noticed it last week, and I failed to say something, but that's good. Great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Hey, while I'm showing and telling, I got the screen. Let me show you. I wanted to show you guys something else here.
Yeah, please.
Steve has been waiting for this one. This is
The Bearcat.
The Bearcat conversion. All right.
Oh, wow.
Cool deal.
And it's going to have a lot of room to work on it here. This is all just temporary and everything like that. But
Wow.
you'll be able to take off the cowl to get to the ESC and the timer and all that kind of stuff. Going to have a side access battery. All right.
Nice.
So the battery compartment is 3.5 inches wide and 6.5 inches long. So that basically means there's room for 2 batteries in there.
Is that held on? Is that held on with magnets?
Yeah. Got magnets in the back there. All right.
That's gonna be cool.
I guess if I put them up on the computer screen, it'll blank out my screen, so I won't do that.
Dennis, is that going to be a Brodak adaptation, or is that something?
Yeah, that's for the Brodak Bearcat. And then as soon as I finish the write up here, I'll send it in, and should be. Well, I'm not sure exactly when it'll be available. They had a problem with Brodak. You guys know John Parker, the laser cutting guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he got the creepy virus, and he's going to be. Last I heard, they weren't sure when he's going to be back. So
I'm so sorry. I met him in 2016.
yeah, if he runs the laser. I mean, so you got a Brodak kit that's got a laser cut part, he touched it. So
well, isn't he diabetic or something? He had a lot of problems.
I'm pretty sure he's had some other other issues. I think he had pneumonia here a couple of years ago, so that would have made him prime. You know, he was hospitalized for a couple of days on oxygen and everything. His wife, Debbie, in the print shop, used to be in a print shop. Yeah, she was sick too, but they let her. They sent her home. But he was hospitalized for a couple of days and then sent home on oxygen. So
wow.
So that prayer change is getting longer and longer.
How long has he had it?
Yeah.
Is he?
Well, let's see. I first heard this a couple of weeks ago, so probably a month ago. So
hospitalized now? Do you know? Or?
I haven't had any updates on that. With the holidays and everything like that, there hasn't been a lot of communications in and out. So I need to check back. But anyhow, the reason I can turn in all the Bearcat stuff, but without a guy to run the laser files, you won't be able to get any parts. So it might be a little time before they make them available. I don't know that.
Dennis, what motor are you gonna put in that?
A Brodak 2826.
2826. Okay.
Yeah, just the
I'm running
standard.
a 2826 right now.
I think that's really going to be oversized, but it's a real short nose. I honestly think that the motor is going to be determined by what it takes to balance it. Okay.
Yeah.
Now the airplane was designed around a Brodak 40, which is a pretty lightweight motor, so I could be all wet on all of that. And it's smallish. It's around 570 squares. It's not as big as the Ray Bearcats or anything like that. Cross section is right. I mean, they really look good, But I don't know. It's I wasn't that excited about a Bearcat until you see it here and it says, it's so big,
Yeah.
It's the old expression, thin may be in, but fat's where it's at, or something like that.
When you get the pickle barrel finished, I think what you're going to find is it takes more power to pull that big barrel through the sky than you expect.
Well, I'm optimistic. I'm not doubting you, but I'm optimistic. I think it's going to take an 11-inch prop anyway. And normally, all the other parts, if you will, the wing parts and everything like that, I could normally fly with a 10.6, but I think just because the cowl is it's around roughly 4 inches. So you just got to clear the cowl right before any thrusting happens. So
I think it should run full.
You fly on the last 2 inches of the prop.
Yeah, well, that's it.
Hey, Dennis, I have a question for you, Dennis.
Yes, sir.
You probably come in contact and talk to the people there at Brodak's. Are any of them interested in coming in, maybe, or even being part of the show? Because they're around these model airplanes all the time. Is it just a job for them, or they actually really like model airplanes and might be inclined to come in?
No, they are for the most part. I don't think there's any modelers on the crew there that I'm aware of. I'd have to think it through, but the model business, of course, John Brodak had the grocery businesses, the printing business, and a few other, the video business and whatever else. He had all of those going on in the model business. You just kind of like the hobby business, if you will, right? And so other people from other parts of the businesses came in and helped them out there. And, they had the model shop in with the print shop and things like that. And so
Yeah,
I'm not aware of any of them that are actually model builders. So
I don't know what they do for videos anymore, but when we were first going, I mean, that store was just packed. You could rent videos there. It was a video store.
the videos are about basically gone. Well, videos in general kind of died. But yeah, it's all hobby shop now. So
I met a lot of them at the Brodax. I mean, I met Nikki and her mom, and I forgot the guy that was mowing the lawns all the time. But I mean, they seemed to be, and maybe it was just working, but they were all so cordial, and and I just thought, wow, maybe someone might want to come on in. But,
you could probably, if it was held, we did this during the day, you might get John Parker to show the laser or the tanks or something, but there'd be nothing they could show at night.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I completely misunderstood where you were coming from, but I'll tell you what, I'll talk to Jan and see if there's any possibility of that.
Yeah, Jan was.
What she would probably do, if nothing else, what she'd probably do is just recommend. I think, Charles, when you were there, I think the same year you were there, they made a real nice video tour that ended up on YouTube.
I got that video.
Yeah, about a half hour long or so. There's a real nice video tour. She might just bring that up, but I don't know. It would be interesting. I'll bring it up on them, and they'll probably say, "Well, Dennis, we gave you a business card. You can go there and be Brodax."
What's happening with the museum?
Hey, that's a good idea, Dennis. You head there and do a video thing from.
Wow, you big time.
Yeah.
Well, when the print shop was there and stuff, I went. I'd go to Toledo and I'd talk to people and I hand out some content. I always scribble a scrap of paper and stuff, and he finally made asked them. They made me up some business cards that said Brodax on them. So,
Denny, what's happening with the museum?
Last I heard, nothing. I mean, I've offered to help out and finish it off and stuff. They said no, they want to take care of it themselves, and I made it pretty clear they didn't want any help, at least not from me, and that was that. I don't really know what's gonna, what the future of it is or anything like that. Last I saw it, it's just basically pallets of material that isn't on display. So it needs to be set up. There's a library in there, a fabulous library they set up that's actually already overflowing with books and other reference material. That's probably the most finished part of it. There was a little hobby shop like the one they have in the AMA museum. They put one of those in there, and that was really good. Bob Zambelli was doing some great work on the old engine displays. I kind of liked what he did with that. It seemed easier to see than the ones in Muncie. He had kind of a wall display rather than a showcase kind of thing. So you're not bending down and looking through shelves and stuff to see everything. And that was kind of nice. But he had the kits. He had all of the wall space that he had allotted for showing off old kits was filled, and he had 12 more pallets of kits to display. It was like he had it started with the company A, and it was up to I think H or something like that, and the rest of them didn't even have a place for them. They were going to build some kind of a wall or something. A series of a wall, if you will, freestanding display walls to put all those in there.
Yeah.
And then he just kept getting stuff. People were, they had airplanes, built airplanes all over the place. They had them in that little office building that they had there. That the house that was kind of across the street from the print shop. The basement of that was filled with airplanes. I don't know, it's just so much material. And as near as I know, basically nothing has happened for about 4 years. Ever since John got sick. So.
Yeah, too bad. That
Yeah,
really is.
it's really too bad because that was that was John's dream, is he wanted to get that thing up and running and open for business. So
It's so sad. It is sad when we have dreams and then next thing you know you run out of life. I was talking to Kirk Mullinex a couple of weeks before he passed away, and he was telling me he had one more plane in him. He wanted to build Bob Whiteley's Derringer or Deringer. I think it's
okay.
And he said he was going to pull the wood, build that, and he was going to help me get some of the balsa wood he has because he has more than he needs for the rest of his life. And then he passes away. But I remember talking to him, and he was just passionate about building one more plane. So that happens in life.
That's
so housekeeping I'm going to get to the chat box. So Charlie Williams says, what's everyone's opinion about the Brodak 40 engine? And T-Bone already commented that the Brodak 40 is very good. And John, I'm not sure how to say your name, John, so I'm not going to try. But John says, once I got my B40 broken in, it runs great. Nice 424. And then T-Bone, Tom Luciano, wishing all and everyone a happy new year. And thanks, Tom. And for my 2 cents, I have 2 Brodak 40 motors, and I think they're a very nice motor. I really like the 4.2 brake. When I heard it, it was a very strong brake, and I really like. And it's a light motor too. So it's to me, if the plane's not too big for it, that's a great engine to put in it.
I'll tell you what, it'll fly a lot bigger prop than what people put on it.
Mm-hmm.
We put on a 12.5 on it. And
you're kidding. Wow.
And you can't believe how that thing will pull a 12.5 prop. We ended up, because we were running light nitro or whatever, we ended up just kissing the ends off a little bit. And that's what Pat won intermediate with there on that profile vector. I mean, and it was Samantha's first motor that we got, I don't know, 10 years ago. And once you get it broke in, they run great. But, you got to do the heating and cooling on them on the bench and stuff. But it takes, that was like the 4th airplane. And that thing is really running good now. With that aluminum chrome cylinder, it just takes a long time for it to break in. But I was always wanting 11.4 on it, and we tried a 12.4 that would work and a 12.5, and it's just hard to believe how hard that motor will pull.
Nice.
But I love them. I got 3 of them.
So here's Charlie Williams' dilemma. He's just trying to decide between an OS, Enya, or Brodak. I imagine he's talking about 40s. Is that right, Charlie Williams? Are they all the same displacement?
It depends on if it was anything that was made for a Fox 35, put a Brodak 40 on it with a tongue muffler, and it'll balance, because you put any of the other ones in it, and you add in tail weight and all that kind of stuff. But that Brodak weighs the same as a Fox 35. The only difference is you got to put a muffler on it. So we use a tongue muffler that weighs, less than an ounce, and it really flies the Top Flight Nobler. Fantastic, and they balance so much better.
Yeah, and it doesn't have the death burp of a Fox.
No, and once it's broken, it'll 2.2. It's a 2.2 brake on it, and the things run fantastic.
And this is for the Aries, he's saying.
That'd be a great one, yeah, because the Aries was a Fox 35. I wouldn't do anything but the Brodak 40 myself.
Well, the Enyas are good, and Enya 35 would be gooder than Enya 40, but they're heavier.
Yeah. unless they don't balance, and then you got that balance. That's what I mean. It's so much easier with the Brodak,
yeah.
or use a Fox 35 on it, and then ship balances. It balances out nice.
Or put a OS 25 on it, and you'll have as much power as the Fox 35, but not as much as the Fox as the 40.
Fox 40, yeah.
Hey, Tryon. Happy New Year.
Hey, Tran, Happy New Year.
And Happy New Year to you, Lynn. I don't think I said that. And Happy New Year to you, Steve. Happy New Year to everybody.
The only other one that I would put on there would be an Inya 35 small case. It's in a 25. It's the Inya 35 Stunt. Now that thing.
Froze up.
He froze up.
Steve?
Froze.
I have another guest, you guys, on the chat box.
Great. I put that in.
You're breaking up, Steve. Anyways, Mike 72, I think this is your first time here, so welcome. And you're starting off your new year fantastic. So anyways, what you said.
Yeah, nothing better to do with like the rest of us.
Yeah, so Mike 72 says, thoughts on the Brodak dope. I've tried to use it on a small half-A project. I was working on it, and I ended up eating away at the paint. Not really sure what I did wrong.
He used Brodak dope on
half-A.
What kind of paint? It a lacquer like that will eat if you put an enamel or whatever for paint. If you use colored dope, it should eat away at it.
Yeah, Mike 72, you need to give us more specifics. I don't know how you did the substrate, how you did the whole thing. I have no idea. I have no idea what to say.
The only safe way to put Brodak dope over something that you don't know what it is put a good primer on it first. And I use automotive primer. It's heavy, but I know it'll seal it up. Then I put Brodak over top of that. And sometimes that one, if you put the first coats of Brodak over that, you'll still blister it if it's enamel under it.
Yeah, if it's enamel, lacquer thinner will blister enamel. It's just,
yeah.
You can put enamel over lacquer. You can't put lacquer over enamel.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey Phil, when you mix your primer, what do you use? What do you use for a mix? I mean, 50-50?
I use the stuff out of the rattle can straight out of the can. Since I found the stuff from Horrible Freight, that's what I use.
Oh no!
It works great.
No, I've heard it works good. I mean, Dennis Nunes came on and said it works great.
I used to use when I could.
It sounds good. It sounds good, and it makes for a good finish, but it's heavy.
Well, it is heavy.
Yeah, it's no heavier than any other primer. Primer is heavy.
Go to your automotive store and buy Omni primer, and use regular lacquer thinner with it. They'll tell you to mix it or either Omni or Acme.
Okay, I've got Omni.
I have Omni too. But instead of mixing it 50-50 like they tell you it's supposed to be mixed with lacquer thinner, mix it 75% thinner.
Okay.
It'll gas off thinner and it'll go on lighter.
Did you say Acme?
Acme or Omni, either one.
Okay. I don't know. Whenever I think of Acme, all I can see is the coyote.
Riley, yeah.
Right.
Riley.
That's going to blow up or want to fall off a cliff or something like that, or have a big old rocket in your head.
We're gonna strap a rocket to our back and go fly to the moon.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
But I've used Acme and I've used Omni thinners, and I've used Nason 100 years ago, but I don't think they make that anymore.
I hadn't seen that in years. When you use the Omni white, is it just 50-50 cut with lacquer?
Omni white lacquer paint or Omni white urethane?
Or
is it primer?
I'll have to
white
go look.
primer?
I'll have to go look. I could have told you until you asked, and it went straight out of my head. Some days I can remember everything. Some days I can't remember anything. Today's one of the later ones. I'm tired.
If I'm mixing primer for a car, I'll mix it 50-50. Car, boat, motorcycle, anything, tin, fiberglass, it doesn't matter. 50-50. If I'm mixing it for a model airplane, I'll go 75% thinner with just about any primer I use.
Okay.
But I'll tell you what, the Harbor Freight works great. I mean, this ain't completely sanded out yet, but it sands easy, and
yeah, it does.
It takes longer to sand, though.
I just wish somebody had told me not to put it on the open bays, because
it ain't going to be any heavier than any other.
Everything. I put it on the open bays of a humongous, and I'm having a time sanding that out. But I'll get it.
Now on the open wood, you're just priming it to fill in the cracks and the grain, right?
Right. You're not using it for a base of any kind.
Right. You're just using it as a filler.
Yeah.
And right now there's a 25% off coupon at Harbor Freight, so you can even get it cheaper the next couple days.
Where it's on the internet?
Yeah.
I'll go over tomorrow then.
Yeah, 25% off for up until the 3rd. So it's part of the New Year's sale.
Right.
If you got your Harbor Freight racetrack card, you don't need the internet offer.
Yeah, well, you bring that up on your telephone and show it to them, and they'll swipe it and take it off for you.
Yeah.
Or they do here. But I tell you what, that stuff, the only thing I don't do, I've seen people take it and spray it right on bare balsa. I don't do that. I've got a can. I went and got a can of lacquer, and it's lacquer paint. And it really doesn't seem to matter what kind it is. Spray the balsa with that, and then sand the fuzz off. Spray it again, let it dry, sand the fuzz off. Just light coats. Now, I'm not trying to, cover it. Just light coats of it. 2 coats of that, and then prime it with this stuff. And when you sand it, it looks like that Steve's got. There's just not much gray showing when you get it sanded, and there's no grain showing. It's just
right. I'm not even. I mean, I sanded that here. I don't know, a month or so ago.
Yeah. Oh, he froze up again.
Oh, why we.
I tell you what, the stuff works. It's the first rattle can product I've used in a long time.
Talking about the Harbor Freight stuff.
Steve, I don't know what's the matter with your internet tonight, but you're freezing up a lot.
Yeah.
Both him and Leonard.
You can hear me.
Yeah.
Well,
Lynn turned into a statue.
We're used
being
to
around Michigan. That's causing the problem, I think.
Oh me.
Len is locked up too.
Yeah, it happens too much, I'm afraid.
He hasn't blinked in 10 minutes.
Steve will be back in a minute, I hope. I like to give him a hard time. He's a good dude.
What do you guys think of using the epoxy, not the soft epoxy, but the and getting it on thin and sanding it, using that as a sealer, not a sealer, but it stiffens up the wood, and then you can put the Harbor Freight primer on over that, and you've got I think the dope isn't as resilient, no, as strong as a dope finish or a lacquer finish underneath it. What do you guys think?
You talking about like the
lacquer
epoxy?
underneath it?
Well, like
not as strong as
epoxy, like Bob Hunt does.
It's definitely not as strong as epoxy now. It's not. There's nothing out there going to be as strong as epoxy. Where did Steve go? Darn. And epoxy's tough, but epoxy's hard to work with too. So, you
John,
end up
I
having
can
to
give
rub
you
and
my
rub and rub.
opinion on it.
I think you're talking about the bleaching resin, Bill.
Oh, finishing resin.
Finishing resin.
What's
your
John? I'll give you my opinion on it, and this is just on my side. I tried that using all that finishing resin and making a pretty paint job one time. My airplane lasted 7 laps. So now what I do is I build them, I cover them, I paint them, and I fly them.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
The thing that infuriates me about finishing is you take one and you think, well, this is never going to be a contest model, like the Humbug I'm working on now. It's never going to be a contest model. So I finished the wings in a kind of coat, and I didn't even really take any real care with that because it was just going to be an airplane to prove if the airplane worked or not. If it works, I'll build another one out of wood. Now this thing has gotten to the point where I'm finding I'm being finicky with this and being finicky with that. I'm going to have as much time in it as if I'd gone ahead and done it right all the way through. So I go ahead and take my time and finish them right normally. This is being the one that I've gone against the grain with. And be darned, I've done some things to this one and fool with it so much. I really like this little airplane. I don't know if it's going to fly or not, but I really like this little airplane.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Hey, I got a question for Dennis and Tryon. John Paris, he was, I don't know, done flying for today or whatever, but on his Castle ESC, one of the capacitors came off.
Ooh.
Has anyone heard of that?
No.
I've heard of burning them on. I've heard of actually damaging the MOSFET on the board and not knowing. You know, it wasn't a physical thing. And it wasn't enough to fail the ESC, but it would restrict how much power it would hold. It would carry and stuff. But physically losing parts, that sounds serious.
Yeah, I know it. It's like I said, you know.
I mean, you like to finish with all the parts you started with, right? So
I asked him how many G's he was turning, you know,
to
sling off a capacitor like that.
Crappy solder joint.
So he said he's going to get them all, but he said the thing ran and everything, but he goes, I can't believe it. You know, the motor runs and stuff like that. And I said, well, you've lost something because that has to do with evening out the power.
Might have something to do with you know, when the motor freewheels, it actually pumps current back through the ESC. Wonder if that capacitor comes into play then. Is it the big one that goes across the end of the ESC?
Yeah, you know, and I don't understand it because, you know, in regular alternating current, if you put capacitors in, you usually put, you know, if you have three wires, you got 3 capacitor banks that, you know, will even everything out so that, you know, one thing isn't running more current, one line isn't running more current than another. It balances the power on all 3 legs. But this, you know, they only have 2. So it's like, how does that work with only 2 of them in there?
Okay. That's not a Castle, it's a Brodak, but it's got, I think these are capacitors here at the end. At the power input side, okay. So that hasn't gone through the mixing, hasn't been phased and everything like that. So that's still at the direct current side and everything like that. So it's probably what he's talking about is these things always do seem a little exposed and everything like that. Thankfully, I haven't failed any. But you know, rather than bring it up as a topic at this chat, I'd say put a stamp on it and send it to our friends at Castle Creations. And,
yeah, that's what he said he's going to do.
And that's the other. Fix it. So
well, he just sent me a text. He must be watching, but he said that, you know, it's hardwired from the capacitor, appears to fatigue and broke at the solder joint. But
most of the time they got heat shrink around them, so just enough to hold them, keep them vibrating. I'm kind of surprised.
I'm surprised it has vibration in it to begin with, because usually electric modes don't have much vibrations to talk about.
That's what I mean.
Almost
Doesn't
not.
make a lot of sense.
I know that's why I asked. I was just wondering if anyone ever seen anything like that before.
No,
But
I didn't.
I don't know. Heating and cooling.
Capacitor on a circuit opposes a change in voltage.
Pardon me?
A capacitor on a DC circuit opposes a change in voltage. That's the purpose on those input sides of the.
Okay.
And so yeah, basically just filtering. As far as the flywheel effect or back EMF, that's probably a diode.
Wouldn't do that then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes more sense. Yeah. Okay.
But it's like, I told him he should, Castle will probably have one or get one and just resolder one in.
They'll probably just send him a new one and put that up on the board and say, don't do this anymore to the manufacturing group.
Who built this? Yeah. Who laid this egg?
Yeah. I didn't know if, heating and cooling, if, it was getting hot or anything like that, if that would fatigue the solder joint.
It would.
It shouldn't get that hot.
Yeah, I think. I thought Castle even had some kind of a policy or something like that. You could basically send them a box of toast, that used to be your ESC, and they would replace it for like half the cost of a new one or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but at any rate, that's the absolute worst case. But yeah, I gotta believe that there was an error in building it in the first place, because the way we handle these things and stuff like that, you just don't flex it there, unless he had to think, slant or jammed in against something, or trying to bend it in half or something like that. And John's not the kind to do something like that.
It was on a.
I gotta believe it was there was something bad there to begin with.
Yeah, it was on a profile, but he said it's 9 years old, and it doesn't appear that it impacts basic operations with one missing. So,
That'll be the new trick. We're going to start clipping parts off until we find the one that's important, right? We're going for the grams, baby. Leave parts off. So
Let me get back Charles. Let me get back to the chat, you guys. Okay, Mike72, he's the one asked about the paint. Oh, excuse me. Montana Farmer asked, let me start over. Any of you fly planes with urethane paint jobs? How do you keep it light and still look deep?
You can't.
You can't.
You can.
But yes, we have, and you can't.
Your thing is heavy.
But Jeff has a different opinion.
Oh yeah.
You
Go
can
for
keep
it.
it light.
Well, tell them how to keep it light, Jeff.
Just over thin it, spray it light. Over thin it and spray it nice and easy. They'll always tell you to do a dust coat and then a heavy coat. Just do one medium coat over the whole thing and over thin it.
Okay.
And then when you come to the clear, over thin it a lot and do it the same way.
All right. Now,
And
Mike,
is that what water-based urethane or what is it, oil-based or whatever the other solvent-based urethane?
It's considered solvent-based, but it's still urethane.
Okay.
That's all I use. I use it because of the color choices I can get. I can't get the colors in dope from Brodak or from Spruce, or I can't get the colors I can get from House of Color or from Omni.
and then Mike72 goes on to say that the dope was on top of a layer of Rust-Oleum paint primer.
There's the first mistake.
I think that's the guy who had the paint eating away at the paint. So
it was
on top of Rust-Oleum.
Yeah.
Primer.
The painter's choice Rust-Oleum is a acrylic enamel, which dope will go over.
But you still have to dust dope over it. If
Oh,
you
yeah,
lay
but
it
I
on
mean,
heavy, if you lay it on heavy, it'll chew it up.
And Mike72 also says that he was sure that the paint was dry. He gave it a few days just to be sure, and then I guess it's still the Brodak dope ate it up,
Yeah,
ate it away.
incompatibility is the problem.
And he probably put it on with a brush too, didn't he?
Jeff, I have a question for you about the House of Color paints
Okay.
and urethane. Is it like a 2K paint or what is it?
What do you mean 2K paint?
Or is it
Two-part?
solvent? Yeah.
Oh, it's two-part. You're gonna mix it with a reducer.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
it depends on whether you buy one shot or if you buy base coat. If you buy base coat, it's just the urethane and then you reduce it.
Yeah, there's no catalyst in base coat.
If you buy single stage, it's gonna have the clear mixed in it, and you mix the base coat.
So okay, let me ask you. I'm just so lost right now because I haven't used that in the past. All I know is like it's like a epoxy kind of paint that you mix two parts kind of thing and you spray it on, or you have
no epoxy always uses a catalyst.
yes, okay.
Urethane doesn't use a catalyst unless it has a clear coat. Then it uses an activator, which is nothing more than a catalyst, but but it's called an activator because it's I guess it's from Mars instead of Venus. I'm not sure, but
Okay.
but, you know the only difference is epoxy paints they come out they're like a plastic coating. They're real thick and normally they're heavy. And it takes a special gun to spray them. Where you can spray an epoxy paint with the same gun you're going to spray your lacquer, your dope, or your enamel with.
Yeah. I'm looking here at the House of Color website. I'm on it right now, and so here's my dilemma. What I'm trying to step away from. I'm trying to find either a water-based paint so I can spray it in a mold. I use rattle can kind of paint, and I think it was attacking the mold release, and it was not a good idea. So I'm thinking about like an automotive kind of paint, where you mix two things and it hardens and you shoot it on and dries up relatively quickly.
Acrylic urethane with the catalyst 2-stage.
So here in House of Color, what type of paint am I looking for? It's auto body or I mean, can you guide me through what to buy?
You're gonna spray this inside a mold. What is the exterior finish going to be? Are you going to clear it? I mean, because you can spray a base coat on your mold, but when you get your paint job, when you get your finish out, it's going to be a dull finish.
It's going to be as shiny as the mold is.
Now you could try it with a base coat, because a base coat is your lightest urethane you're going to find.
Okay.
You could try it with a base coat, but chances are you're going to need to use a single stage, which has the clear in it, so that when it comes out, it's going to stay shiny.
Now, Brian, are you going to put?
Well, then again, wait a minute, because if you paint on the inside of a canopy with base coat, when you look at it from the outside, it looks cleared. So if you're spraying the inside of your mold, and it depends on how the finish is. I don't know anything about molding stuff and spraying the inside.
It's the same. It's kind of equivalent to spraying on a piece of plastic sheet.
Yeah, you could get away with a base coat easily if that's the case.
Yeah.
Now
spray it inside the mold and you'll be done with it.
But imagine removing it after that, so you spray it on a plastic sheet and you
what are you putting down? So are top of the spraying it on top of oxy or?
No, directly on a mold.
He puts his mold release on the mold, and then he puts his color on them. When he does the molding, the color adheres to the to the part that he's molding because of the epoxy that is in the mold type thing. Isn't that right, Tran?
Yes. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
then the color's going to be on top of the finish.
Yes.
Right.
You're going to want to use something with some clear in it then.
Yeah,
So it feels shiny.
Yeah, you'd have to clear it when you pull it out of the mold.
Okay. I'll
If you
think
use
about
base coat, you'll have to clear it. If you use a single stage, it would be all right.
Yeah.
But that being said, I've seen a lot of people doing painting in a mold on wings and whatnot, you know, and when it comes out, it's super shiny and super nice finish.
Yeah, I think
Without any clear on it.
I think the people who are doing that are basically they're putting the finish on in reverse order. They actually put a clear coat,
No,
and then they
don't.
put their trim colors on, and then they build their base color on, and then finally they mold what's going into it.
That
No.
would make sense.
No, they never do that. They just put the color directly and that's it.
But you can get the clear coat on it first. There's no difference between a clear coat and a color coat on the first layer. If you wanted to have something surfaced, you could put that in a mold the same as you can a opaque paint. I mean, it's the same thing without the solids. So
you might look into UV paint because you can take that and tape it, paint it, whatever, and it doesn't dry until you hit it with a UV light, and that turns it into hardened paint, and then lay up stuff over top of that. And that would make like a shell.
But it dries real heavy, Steve.
It wouldn't be any heavier than anything else.
The UV paint dries twice as heavy. It's like UV glue. UV glue is twice as heavy as CA.
Now, solids are solids. I tell everybody that all the time.
When?
You know, a pint a pound the world around. You know, that's about how things work. If you put in pigment, the pigment weighs, but the carrier, whatever you're using, a urethane, a lacquer, whatever, that clear is within maybe 1 gram of this one or that one. I weighed them all when I worked for the paint company.
Yeah.
I weighed all the bases. It depends on how well the pigment is ground and how well it's diffused in there is what gives you the difference in the weight of a color. But even that doesn't amount to hardly anything.
So then is a candy color going to be lighter than an opaque color?
Candy is pretty opaque and it's pretty flat. It's actually a flat.
Depends.
No.
If you spray on an opaque color, you can see through. You put it on so light, you can see through it. Or you put a candy color enough coat so you can't see through it. It's going to weigh the same. It's how much pigment's in that clear. And a candy color is just clear with hardly any damn pigment in it. It's tinted. It's not colored.
Yeah.
But your lightest colors are blue and red. And
silver's your heaviest. Silver and gold.
Well, yeah, silver and gold has metal in the pigment. And it weighs whatever. If it's true gold, it's really heavy.
Well,
if you put lead in there,
if it's true gold, it's going to weigh as much as the truck you drive.
Right. I mean, it's you can tell what stuff weighs by when you picked up the pigment. If it comes in a box that's this big by this big, and one weighs 20 pounds and one weighs 10 pounds, you know that color is going to weigh more than this color. But when it comes to whites, to yellows, I weighed them all, and they all weigh about the same. It's the better they're ground, the better they cover. Now, ink, if somehow you could spray ink, that would be the lightest, because they grind the pigment in ink so fine, it's so expensive, but it has coverage like crazy. Because all the little teeny pieces can meet up better.
The closest I've found to ink that you can spray is called auto color, and it's a water base. And you can only spray it, that I know of, you can only spray it with an airbrush or an internal mix gun.
Yeah.
You
So-
can't spray it with your regular old school big grizzly bear spray gun. You got to use an internal mix or a smaller gun.
But you know, I don't know. I would think UV, if it's cut thin enough and it's ground, you know, fine enough and everything, that could be laid on, and then because that's how they do it. If you look up surfboards, that's how they mold the surfboard, and they got a nice shiny surface over top of that color. And I was online and I looked, and it showed how the guy did the mold to do the surfboard.
That's a urethane surfboard. That's not an old school.
Huh?
That's a urethane surfboard. That's not an old school surfboard.
It's whatever the new ones are. They're making composite.
Yeah, they're all urethane now.
And he was using the UV cured paints, and he had it all set up, and he built it up and molded it, and but yeah, it turned out great.
Most of what I've seen him use down here at the shop down here is UV cure epoxies.
Yeah.
Not so much the paints. They just, because they put the epoxy on, they spray the water-based paint on the epoxy, and then they UV cure it. But it's the epoxy that's UV cure, not the paint.
So okay, so I'm looking here in the type of paints that are they're offering, and they have an,
You're on House of Color, right?
I mean House of Color, yes. It says acrylic enamel system, acrylic urethane system, urethane base coat system.
Urethane base coat is probably where you're going to want to start.
Okay.
But I'm not sure how your finish is going to come out, because I don't know anything about how the molding process works.
I just know.
Spray, like Dennis said, if you're going to spray it clear and then do your stripes and then lay your molding into it, then it'd probably be gorgeous.
Tryon, what is the chemical base of the mold release? Is that a water base or something?
It's a semi-permanent.
Okay, because that may. I'm not nearly smart enough to tell you what you would need, but it would, whatever your mold release is, that might tell you the chemistry of the paint you want to put on it, so the paint doesn't somehow,
eat it,
so it doesn't mix badly with the mold release, or doesn't cause a reaction.
That's why you have. That's why you have to use an automotive type paint for it.
Yeah,
or
probably a catalyzed acrylic and a catalyzed acrylic urethane, not the air dry urethane, but one that has a catalyst in it, because basically it uses the catalyst to harden the paint versus letting it air dry.
Yeah. So which one is that? Is that one of the systems, right? Because if you don't mix it up, it's not going to harden. Is that correct?
It depends. If you're going to spray it on and then do your mold like within 10 seconds, you're going to have wet paint. But if you spray it on there and give it 5 minutes to dry, that urethane paint dries in 5 minutes. If you're airbrushing it, you can spray it on and wipe your hand over it and it won't go away. It's the urethane paint is fast if you're light. If you're gonna spray it on heavy, you give it 5 minutes. You can rub your hand over it and it's dry.
So the idea is to lay the mask in a mold and spray the paint, and just take the mask out immediately after that. That's kind of the way it's gonna work out.
Well, you're going to have to give the paint some time to set up before you start throwing your mold, your epoxies in there. Otherwise, it's just going to mix and turn into it'll look like a spirograph.
No, no. I'm putting the mask inside the paint, like you paint a wing, right? You put the mask over, and you mask it somehow, right? And you paint on top of it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna remove the mask immediately after that, and just wait for it to dry.
Oh yeah. You
Makes
should be
sense?
all right.
Okay, cool.
All right.
So that's the idea. And
I didn't say
As
that.
far as the finish
try
on
on.
the outside, as far as the finish on the outside is concerned, I'm really not sure because I don't know what the mold release process is. But
Yeah.
the smoother everything, if you sprayed that paint down on a mirror
Yes.
and were somehow able to peel that off, it would be shiny.
That's why that's what I'm telling you. It's like if the mold is nicely finished and it has a nice surface to it, when you spray the paint inside and you remove the part, it's as shiny, it's as nice as the mold surface is.
Okay, now it might not look like the 1957 Chevy. That's the paint job looks like it's under 3 inches of glass because that just takes a ton of clear to do, no matter how you do it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But
So what?
It'll still have some shine to it.
Yeah.
You're going to have to get on some of these sites. I was just watching some car deal that the guy was painting cars, and he was pushing a new the UV paint or whatever. And how he was selling it is that the coverage was so much better. He was using almost half as much to paint a car as what he did with the base coat, clear coat. And it wasn't to keep the car light, it was to keep the cost down. Because if he used half as much paint, it cost him half as much money. He said because some of these reds and maroons and stuff like that are so expensive that, you can have a couple $1,000 in just the paint to paint a car. So if he can cut that down half, then he saves. So that was my thing is, well, if you got less mills to use less paint, it has to weigh less.
Yeah. So the next question will be like, is there a good place to go and buy some of this paint that's in small quantities? I mean, it's like Jeff. I mean, if you painted just one plane, it's no sense of buying a gallon of the shit or even a quart.
I found that most places will sell House of Color in a quart. But then you can. There's a few places. You're in Georgia, right? I would have to ask because I'm clear out here in California. I've got a paint supply connection where I can buy it by. I can buy a pint or even a half pint of the clear suspension, and I can buy a 2-ounce tube of toner for like candy blue or candy red or root beer brown. I mean, I can buy little vials of toner, and then I can buy a half pint or a pint or a quart or a gallon of clear suspension, and that gives me a candy base coat that I can clear over.
Yeah.
But
so you're gonna have to like shop around. What I did is I just Googled House of Color, paint shops near me, suppliers near me, and then I just called around until I found one that would do what they call a pour out. And that means they'll give you, instead of selling you a quart of candy toner, because a quart of candy toner is $180. Nobody wants to spend that. But they'll sell you 2 ounces for $20. And that's enough to do a pint of paint.
Just go to a body shop and just say, hey, next time you paint a bright red car, if you've got any paint left, can you save me a little bit? And do a test in, the stab. Instead of using carbon fiber, maybe you can just use fiberglass just for a test.
Yeah.
To see how it works. But they always have stuff left over from when you paint a car, more than because you can't figure it out exactly.
Wow.
So just get a little. I mean, when they did Samantha's car, hell, they gave me almost a quart they had left over.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's pretty neat. It's a good
Yeah,
idea.
and it's like, you can use it for touch up or whatever, but it's 2 parts, so you really can't, but you have to re-clear it and stuff. But yeah, they gave me what was left.
Wow.
So, but if you just went to a body shop and asked them, I know they'd give you a little bit of stuff in for a test. And then if it works,
well, it's
then
a
you
good
can buy
thing it's a good thing you don't live out here in California. Because you go anywhere asking for paint or anything like that, and they're going, you got to have a license for that shit. We ain't passing it out.
Wow.
Yeah, it's good for you that you live in California. Enjoy it.
Hey, guys, let me interject, you guys. I'm going to end the stream, but I want to thank you guys for coming in. This is the first show of 2021, and we had as many as 24 viewers out there. We have 15 likes right now, 0 members. I'm still hoping and believing we'll get some new memberships, and no chats. No super chats. But don't forget the super chat there in the chat box. You can donate whatever amount you want. We don't get all of it, so make sure it's a little bit more than $1 because it's not. Sparky said it's not worth it to him. But anyhow, Mike 72, he said, "Thanks, guys. Hope all is good. Hope all have a good year, basically." And then Greg Nielsen, I think he came in late. He says, "Evening, guys." And let me see here. What else I wanted to say? Oh, I was to make another announcement. If you're watching this as a replay, I just want you to know we do start this Monday and Friday evenings at around. I try to get started around 6:45 p.m. That's Pacific Standard Time. That way you can come into the chats and you can participate and hopefully you'll be our member of Stunthangar.com, and then you can come in live with us because the link is posted in Stunt Hangar. So I want to thank everybody for showing up and continue to like and share these videos, and let's have a great year. And
I'll have to say, Charles, this is the best.
The best what?
He froze up again.
Best chat we had this year so far.
Yeah, best chat we've had so far this year.
All year long, yes.
Yes, hopefully we can build on this and get it better and better. So, anyways, thanks out there in YouTube land. Thanks for coming in and watching us. We'll hopefully see you again Monday, and bring some friends, and bring some likes and some shares and some subscriptions, and I would appreciate it. So long. I'll see you guys later. We're going to start to have the after party, which is we continue going on. Sometimes the after party is actually better than what we had streamed. So you really could be missing out. So come on in and join us. But you have to be a member of Stunt Hangar Forum to be in here. And I hope to see you guys Monday.